Joe Samaniego here wanted to invite you to go check out Poblis. Poblis is a dog clothing and accessory company based in Austria. 10% of each of your purchases goes to helping dogs in need, whether it's homeless, sick, or ill dogs. This is one of the reasons why we support it. Kiska here is a rescue dog from rural Alaska and our Grid office dog. We care about our furry buddies, and we know you do as well. Definitely check out poblis.com. There's a link on the video description, and by clicking on that link, you get a 10% discount on your purchase as well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grid Live Wrap-Up. I'm Ben Schneider, alongside Adam Lemeries, Josh Birch, and Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. We have a lot to discuss today, a lot of feel-good stories. We'll discuss Marc Marquez dominating in MotoGP in the Lone Star State, a recap of WRC Rally Finland, but we have to start with the YellaWood 500 in a weekend that produced a number of firsts at Talladega Superspeedway.
Yes, we saw a lot of firsts at Talladega Superspeedway this weekend. And according to NASCAR, this is the very first time in NASCAR history where the same track has produced not one, not two, but three first-time winners. Contact on the final lap of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, St. John Hunter Nemechek spinning. Tate Fogelman from Young's Motorsports won the Chevrolet Silverado 250, the first race on Saturday. And this is the second win at Talladega for Tyler Young's operation. They also won the Talladega Fall race 2 years ago with Spencer Boyd. The Xfinity race, the second race of Saturday, got called early on Saturday evening due to incoming darkness. Brandon Brown, Brandonville Motorsports got the Sparks 300 victory, the second first-time winner of the weekend. And this had many wondering if we'd complete the trifecta and have three first-time winners with the Cup race completed in the weekend. And yesterday, as you all know, the YellaWood 500 got postponed until this afternoon because of Mother Nature crashing the Talladega party on the boulevard. And we saw several wrecks during the race involving several playoff drivers. It was a bad day for Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, all involved in crashes. We'll get into the major playoff implications later in the show. But first, we're going to talk about the history we witnessed today. With rain approaching past halfway, a few laps to go in stage two, Bubba Wallace fought his way through on the outside lane, got the lead as Ryan Preece got turned into the wall, collecting William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto. Then the rain arrived, a downpour, and there wasn't enough time to dry the track before darkness, so NASCAR ultimately decided to call the race. This meant Bubba Wallace winning for the first time in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's also the first win for 2311 Racing, the first win for Denny Hamlin and basketball legend Michael Jordan as team owners. New crew chief Booty Barker also got his first Cup win in 484 tries, so definitely a huge day for Booty as well. And the historical significance of Bubba Wallace is the second black driver in NASCAR history to win a Cup race, joining NASCAR Hall of Famer Wendell Scott. Starting with you, Adam, how massive is Bubba Wallace's Talladega win for NASCAR as a whole?
Oh, it was a huge moment. This will go down as one of the greatest NASCAR moments. This will go down as one of the greatest moments in NASCAR history. Think back to 1992, the Hooters 500 featured Richard Petty's last race, the late, great Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison. It was also Jeff Gordon's first NASCAR Cup race. After everything that Bubba Wallace had endured last year at Talladega, it was, I was so happy for him, I worked till 3:00 p.m. and I was hoping to watch some of the race, and I was glad I was able to. After, the whole sports community is so happy for Bubba. He'll probably get text messages from probably men like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. He'll probably get them from sports legends he probably always wanted to meet and talk to, but now this will go down as one of the greatest all-time moments in NASCAR history. There's no asterisk to this victory. No, all tech inspection is clear. Bubba Wallace is the official winner of the YellaWood 500. I'm so happy for him, his entire team, his owners, Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. Bubba Wallace has had a lot of success on the play tracks this year in coming so close. Today, it was the ultimate win for Bubba and NASCAR.
It's been over 55 years since the last black driver to win in a NASCAR race. How good it was today to see Bubba take victory as well. I'm not an avid NASCAR fan, tuned in today as well, and I'm so glad I did. History in the making as well, and it was a perfect way as well to win the race with the red flag coming out for the second time with the rain again after you said earlier on, Kobe, numerous cautions as well. It was so fitting as well, where a year ago at Talladega, the entire NASCAR field sort of gathered around Bubba Wallace over the incident with the pit stall as well. And honestly, it was so nice to see them gathering around him for a second time here, but this time for a more positive note as well. And definitely to give him the sort of buck up he needed, because he looked like he was almost in tears when under that red flag as well. He was keeping his cool. He was walking up and down pit road as well and fighting back the emotion. It was just nice to see him finally cheer when it was made official as well. This is unbelievable. Great news for NASCAR as well. Great news for the Bubba Wallace Foundations and all of the family as well. It's just absolutely fantastic. And as I think you said just before we're on air, Adam, as well, first win for the McDonald's car as well. I'm hungry now. I want to go get a McDonald's as well. It has that impact as well. It is fantastic news.
Yeah, Josh, maybe you DoorDash McDonald's and get a Dr. Pepper's or drink, and hopefully the DoorDash driver drives a Toyota. I don't know how many sponsor plugs we can get in here for Bubba Wallace. Listen, guys, this is just a great day for NASCAR. And, it cannot be overstated. And this is a sport that needs all the positive momentum that it can get. As much as Steve Phelps wants to tell us 8 out of 10 fans like the 550 package, as much as we hear we like what we're seeing, ratings and attendance, there's no sugarcoating it. The last 10, 15 years, they haven't been great. And now with Bubba Wallace winning, guys like Michael Jordan, Pitbull, massive names coming in for team ownership in this sport, NASCAR has an opportunity here to take this momentum and really bring about some positive things with it. And Bubba Wallace proving that he could get the job done and win a Cup Series race is only going to help that. And this was no fluke. I want to be very, very clear. People are going to try to discredit this, say it was a rain-shortened race, put the asterisk next to it. Absolutely not. This is a guy who came up one spot short of winning the Daytona 500 in his first ever Daytona 500 in 2018. Ironically, been battling right alongside Denny Hamlin there, coming to the line and exchanging some words with Denny there. And it's kind of ironic that now they're business partners, but it's funny how things work sometimes. Bubba Wallace put himself in the position today to get the job done. And ultimately, nobody can control Mother Nature. It struck right at the right time, just as it did for Justin Haley at Daytona a couple of years ago. This is a truly, truly great day for NASCAR, for Bubba Wallace, for Michael Jordan, 2311, for Toyota, for so many people. And that cannot be stated enough.
You're absolutely right, Ben. It cannot be stated enough. And the biggest thing that I look at in Bubba Wallace's victory today at Talladega is the future of NASCAR. A lot of people, when they're watching sports, they want to see people that look like them doing great things. And for all the little black boys and girls out there seeing Bubba Wallace do what he did today, if they want to be race car drivers or work in motorsports when they grow up, Bubba Wallace showed them that anything is possible, that I can do it. And when you don't see people who look like you who are finding success in a certain profession, it might lead you to become defeated and feel like you can't do it. But I think Bubba Wallace at the end of the day is going to end up serving as a major inspiration for a lot of people all around the world. And I think today's historical feat of him joining Wendell Scott as the second black driver to win a NASCAR Cup Series race is a massive understatement in saying how significant this is. This is a really, really big day for Bubba Wallace, 2311 Racing, Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan, everybody involved at this project. It's just a really, really good day for all of them and NASCAR as a whole. And last year, we saw Bubba's life change forever at Talladega. No, Josh, you mentioned that. When we thought a hate crime had been committed in the garage area, the garage rallied around him, and NASCAR started their social justice movement. Bubba really started to become one of the most recognizable names in NASCAR by the general public. Some celebrities, athletes from other sports started noticing Bubba, and I even saw a few celebrities congratulating Bubba after he won today at Talladega. Rapper Big Sean, I saw him on Twitter congratulating him. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more celebrities congratulating Bubba as well. A lot of people all over the world are starting to know who Bubba Wallace is. Sponsors noticing him as well after Bubba struggled to secure funding. Now there's no longer a problem for the driver the number 23, number 23 Toyota Camry. And the big break came when Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan started up 2311 Racing, signed Bubba to drive the car. But Sir Lewis Hamilton, with all of his Formula One race victories, world championships, and off the track accomplishments, he's taken notice of Bubba as well. Lewis is a notable leader in Formula One's social justice movement to promote an inclusive and welcoming environment for all. Everyone knows Lewis is not afraid to speak his mind at all about various topics, especially this topic. And he's also a very influential figure, both inside and outside of Formula One. And by the time we wake up in the morning in the United States and in the East Coast, I'd be really surprised if we don't see Lewis Hamilton congratulating Bubba somewhere on social media. Probably going to be his Instagram story, because that's where Lewis usually likes to post. Because Lewis Hamilton, he really understands this moment and the significance of what we all witnessed today. So I'm going to throw this question to you, Josh. How has Lewis Hamilton's success and large platform as the most accomplished black racer in the world helped change the narrative about diversity in global motorsport?
The one thing I always love about Lewis Hamilton is he never shies away about where he's from. He always says he's from a working council estate in Stevenage as well. But also the fact is that he's proud of his grandfather's heritage as well, from Grenada as well. And there's a lovely quote as well that I read up about a couple of months ago when I was looking through Lewis Hamilton's stat book in his preparation for his 100th pole. And I found it here today as well. The Grenada, their motto as well, ever conscious of God, we aspire, build, and advance as one people. That is fantastic. A message of unity there as well. And Lewis has taken that and he's put it forward as well. And then last year as well, with all of the George Floyd protests as well, all across the world, Lewis was at center stage as well. And there's a wonderful feature that gets getting repeated on Sky F1 that Ted Kravitz made as well about Lewis Hamilton and how he was so involved in the change for equality as well. He was so passionate about it as well. He was a massive fan of Jasmine Baldwick as well, who was Black Panther as well, and was devastated the morning in Spa when he found out that he passed away as well, because of everything he did for the rights in his minorities as well. And it's fantastic as well. And I'm just so proud of Lewis Hamilton, all he's done, and I'm proud to see that he's inspired so many other people to rise up. And as you echoed earlier on as well, Kobe, it gives inspiration to those who would have thought, I can't do that. I don't look like that person on the television. No, doesn't matter. Be the change. Be the person who can come along and do it better as well. It's fantastic to see. I mean, I often get called in my line of work as well, as I'm sure many of us do as well, is that we're not often the person that they're looking for in terms of roles and things as well. And I don't go, oh, well, that's because of this and that. No, I go, no, you're right. Let's not have it. Many people go for people of changing attitudes in motorsports and go like, well, there'll be a woman presenter next as well. And so what? Who cares? If she can do the job, she can do the job. And I know fantastic journalists as well who can do the job. And it's really a question of people come up to me and say, you're hardly going to improve in a world where diversity is coming on. You're a white young male. You're not going to be involved when people are trying to introduce diversity. And I say to them, I don't care. I work with people who are fantastic motorsport journalists. I work with people who love motorsport, no matter their background, no matter their race, no matter their color. I do not care. And that is what we are finally seeing in motorsport as well. Last year, as we've all echoed, with the Bubba Wallace protests as well, that we saw in the pit lane with all the drivers standing behind him, that was a key stepping moment. Lewis Hamilton as well, setting up the Mission 44 project as well to drag more people in. He's acknowledging drivers all over the world now in different sports. We are finally getting to a stage where we are finally racing as one whole motorsport community and living as one motorsport community. It's going to take time, but here today as well, it's a massive step forward. And I am so, so proud of Bubba Wallace as well. And I really, really actually, what I want to see is when we get to the American Grand Prix for Formula One, I want Bubba there in the front with Lewis Hamilton. And I want a photo with those two, with their two great cars, because honestly, they are an inspiration to many. And we're going to see, I hope now, a big, big change, because this is another thing, final point on this as well. When Pablo Montoya, who was arguably the first black driver in Formula One as well, he disputes that, but he was racially abused by the FIA. He was forced out in many respects as well because of that. He was constantly criticized on it. And it's just the sea of change, because it brought up Lewis Hamilton to want to drive in Formula One more as well. It brought up so many others as well. And I'm really, really hoping that what as you said, the young boys and girls who are watching there today, they've seen something that hasn't happened in NASCAR for 50 years. And it just gives hope. And it's making me emotional as well, because it is so fantastic. It's history, absolute history. So yeah, I think it's just fantastic. And I can't echo enough how great Bubba Wallace it was today. As you said as well, Ben, it's not an asterisk next to his name. He was leading that race. He had control of that race. And it was only the rain late on, after he definitely had the lead of the race, that it changed that way.
Well said, Josh. I don't think anybody could have said it as best as you did. It's been really nice seeing what Lewis Hamilton has been able to do at his platform. Bubba Wallace has started being more vocal as well about it. It would be really nice to see those two in the same picture, meet in person, and actually do some work together on diversity. I understand that's really hard to do, given Lewis is traveling the world in the intense NASCAR schedule. But it would be nice if they were able to establish something where they can work together on diversity, because both are already doing a really great job on their own. But if you have both Lewis Hamilton and Bubba Wallace together, imagine the result you can get worldwide. So I definitely think that the best days in motorsports in terms of diversity are yet to come. And also want to point out Bubba's protege, Roger Caruth, finished third this weekend at Salem in the ARCA Menard Series race, right behind Ty Gibbs. And it was just a really good race for Roger. And Bubba actually pointed that out in the post-race press conference, and referring to the NASCAR Driver Diversity Program. He said without that program, he isn't sure if he even be in victory lane at Talladega right here, and let alone just being a NASCAR driver. So it really shows that the diversity, equality, inclusivity, it all matters, and the best days in motorsports are ahead, just like I said. And while it was a really good day for the entire group at 2311 Racing, another team, Hendrick Motorsports, they experienced quite the opposite. 3 cars that crash damage. Chase Elliott, best finish in Hendrick car, 18th place. William Byron, Kyle Larson, Ellis Bowman all finished 36, 37, and 38. Heading to a road course next weekend at Charlotte, they have to feel good about their chances, especially Chase Elliott, who seems to be the king of the Charlotte Roval. And given Hendrick's speed on the road courses this year, do you expect them to bounce back from a disappointing Talladega?
Look, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Everybody knows how I feel about the playoffs. I can't believe with how dominant Kyle Larson has been. All it's taken is a crash today at Talladega. He's only 22 points above the cut line heading into the Charlotte Roval, which is by no means a lock into the next round. Having said that, obviously Hendrick has had a lot of speed all year. You have to think they're going to bounce back. Obviously, Chase Elliott is arguably the greatest road course racer in the Cup Series right now. And Kyle Larson's right up there with him, proving that he can win on the road courses as well. All the Hendrick cars have had speed this year. I think Larson and Elliott will probably be all right. We know Byron and Bowman, there were even questions about whether they'd even make it out of the first round. But Hendrick Motorsports, obviously Talladega is unpredictable. They'd have to be full steam ahead, looking for a bounce back weekend of the Charlotte Roval. And given the organization's history of having speed this year, I've got a feeling, for the most part, at least, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ben. I think, you'll see Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson battling for the win at the Charlotte Roval. But we all know, that could also be another wild card race. because of because of the track, and we don't know what the weather's going to be like. But I believe Hendrick Motorsports will have a really good bounce back race at the Charlotte Roval. If a Hendrick Motorsports driver doesn't win that race, it would be a surprise.
Sorry about that. For some reason, it will not change screens. But anyways, I really think Hendrick Motorsports is going to definitely bounce back at the Charlotte Roval. They've run extremely well on all of the road courses this year, and Chase Elliott is probably going to be a lot of people's pick a winner. If not Kyle Larson, like Joe usually goes like Joe usually goes with Kyle Larson. I think those are definitely going to be the top two favorites to win at the Charlotte Roval. But if something happens next weekend, something out of their control, something crazy happens, we could be talking about a completely different story for Hendrick Motorsports entering the playoffs. We were saying that this is going to be the team that's going to win the championship, and like Ben was saying, one bad race at Talladega, and look what's happening now. If I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the program, I'll expand my thoughts then. But if Kyle Larson has an early exit at the Charlotte Roval, and all the other playoff drivers do well, we could very well see Kyle Larson get eliminated from the playoffs, and that is absolutely crazy to even think about. But for the most part, I think Hendrick's definitely going to have the speed. They're going to have the car under them. They're going to have the team, and I think everything should fall accordingly to them. So to summarize everything that happened at Talladega, definitely a special weekend for Tate Fogleman, Brandon Brown, and Bubba Wallace winning today, a weekend that many will never forget. And while NASCAR racing at Talladega, MotoGP finally made it back to the States at Circuit of the Americas.
That's right, Kobe. After a tense start to the weekend at COTA, the MotoGP Grand Prix of the Americas was completed. And for Marc Marquez, it might feel like the completion of the road to recovery. Absolute domination by him and Honda. Josh, I want to start with you. I almost picked Marc Marquez on this program on Saturday, and now I'm kicking myself for not doing it. Is he fully 100% back, or can we chalk this win up to his previous dominance and success at COTA?
Don't beat yourself up too much, because I don't think anybody saw it coming. I think when it comes to Marc Marquez being 100% back, I would say I think he's 90% there. We know I was very worried, and so was Megan actually in the commentary yesterday, was the fact that it's a left-hand minority circuit as well, because it's 11 left, 9 to the right. So I thought his shoulder was going to go. Like we've seen so many times throughout this year as well, his physical strength doesn't seem to be there. A fantastic thing has happened as well. I definitely think we have to include the fact that he has won here 7 times now as well, 6 before. But also, he didn't take pole position on the Saturday. That went to Bagnaia. That was a little bit of a surprise. He got a demon start as well up towards turn 1. Whoever started third across the Moto3 and the Moto2 always led into turn 1 as well. So that was almost a guarantee of a good launch. It was the grippier side of the track for a run up the hill. But Mark held on to that throughout the race as well. He did a fantastic job. And definitely, I think his past experience here helped. The only reason he lost out on 2019's race win was because the front brake locked going down into turn 12 and threw him off the bike effectively. So it would have been 8 wins, but I just like that. He's a perfectionist. He likes having that symmetry. 7 podiums, 7 pole positions, and now 7 victories as well. Definitely, he is back as the king of the ring for the Sachsenring in Germany, and definitely recrowned as the king of COTA. If he's 100% back, too early to tell still. I think this season very much is a test, but definitely a championship contender for next season. Let's see if he can win in any of the last 3 races, just to put him on a good start going into the winter break.
Yeah, it's called. I don't think anybody saw this coming. After everything that happened to Marc Marquez last year, I think I have to agree with you, Josh. I think he's 90% recovered. And, next year, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a championship contender. When he got off the line yesterday at COTA, I don't think nobody saw this coming. He completely dominated the race. no one had any shot for him. I know there was battles throughout the field, but Mark Marquez, I'm kicking myself too because I almost picked him as my pick winner, and I should have, like Ben said. But Mark Marquez is a talented MotoGP rider, a lot of respect for him, and I believe he will win at least one more race before the season's over with, and then 2022, look out, because I believe he will be a championship contender next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won the championship. What a feel-good story that would be.
Yeah, truly a dominant day for Marc Marquez, and I really do wish I had gone ahead and picked him. I really do regret that. Not as much as I regret picking Jennifer Jo Cobb to win the truck race, though, although I did say that mostly in jest. But Marc Marquez, like I said, truly really special weekend for him, and great to see that he's mostly almost back to 100%, as we've been talking about. And the multi-time world champion, I wouldn't be surprised if he adds a couple more championships before it's all said and done. Certainly looked like the old Marc Marquez we've seen in the past this weekend. Marquez obviously won the race. Quartararo and Bagnaia made up the top three finishers. No third win in a row for Bagnaia. And most importantly, in terms of championship, 52 points now behind Quartararo. The next race, Fabio could wrap up the championship if he leaves Misano with more than a 50-point lead. With Bagnaia, the only rider left in the championship hunt, he needs to outscore Quartararo on the next round. So, Adam and Josh, will the championship be wrapped up over the time of the next race weekend?
I believe it will be wrapped up in Misano. I believe Fabio Quartararo is going to go out there and have a really good race. We'll see what happens in qualifying, but I believe it's Fabio's championship to lose. He's had an all-around dominant 2021, and I believe after Misano, I can say we will officially crown him as the 2021 FIM MotoGP World Champion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, both of you, because it's going to be a Emilia Romagna championship glory for Quartararo. I said in the commentary, he's got one hand very firmly on the trophy and the other hand is just sort of stroking it like, what's his name from James Bond, Blofeld, stroking his cat. He's just sort of been the little villain throughout all of it, hasn't he? El Diablo. He'll take the title, no doubt about it now. It's too little too late for Bagnaia. As I've said, since he took his first victory all those weeks ago, it just has not worked out the way he thought it would. And I'm here for him, but it's good to see that next season he's got this pace and he could take the challenge up there, but Quartararo's just been too consistent all season long. I think it helped Quartararo's title challenge. That Maverick Vinales fell out with Yamaha and left mid-season in all that dramatic stance as well. I think that helped him, because if Vinales had worked with Yamaha all throughout this year, we would have been calling it the fight of the century between the two teammates. But don't count your chickens yet, because this has got all the hallmarks of 2015 once again, when it was Lorenzo versus Rossi in the championship. And I think, Rossi got a certain amount of points ahead. I think it was like 36 points. And then he kicked Marc Marquez off in Malaysia. And it all fell down again, going down into the last race at Valencia. So it's not over just yet. But a 52-point gap Quartararo now has to Bagnaia. He needs to be, he needs to be over 50 points at the end of the Emilia Romagna race. If he's done that, he's world champion, no matter what happens in the last two races in Algarve and Valencia. So I think we've got a 95% certainty that Quartararo is the champion. If Bagnaia somehow manages to take it, then I will be absolutely stunned and I would eat my microphone.
Well, Josh, I know it's early over there in the UK. Thank you so much for sticking it out and coming on here to join us talking NASCAR MotoGP. Want to let you go, but before you do head off for the night, what was your Grid 1 shining moment of the weekend?
I've got two, and one from MotoGP, one from NASCAR. So let's start off with the NASCAR one. Obviously, it's going to be Bubba Wallace and his fantastic maiden victory throughout as well. He was so dominant as well in the later stages of that race, just before the red flag came back out as well. He was always up there fighting in the mix as well. It was a true victory, and the repercussions of this going forward can only be good for NASCAR as well, and the whole actually of the NASCAR community, because we know a couple of years ago they banned the Confederate flag as well from NASCAR as well. It's only just starting to have a complete resurgence of how it should be in the 21st century. About time too, 20 years later. But it is really, really, really great news. In MotoGP, it actually comes from Moto3, and it's from the second race after the red flag. And it was the fact is that Dennis Onchu moved across on the front of the field, caused a massive accident with Alcoba, Costa, and Minio as well. It resulted in the championship leader, Pedro Costa, and Andre Minio launching up in the air at over 200 miles an hour and slamming back down on the track. Thankfully, everybody's okay. So I want to take this opportunity to praise the safety standards that have been put in place this year for Moto3, because we've already had a lot of fatalities this year. And it's the quick work they've done as well to try and improve the safety is top notch, and it can only get better. So two shining moments there, the safety and the fantastic win from Bubba Wallace as well. And I'll leave you to get on with the rest of the show. It's 1:32 and it's starting to rain outside. I feel like I'm what is it? I said it just before we come on air. I feel like I'm, with my voice having to be so quiet, I feel like I'm reading to children going to bed. So I'll leave you with good night, children, and have a good sleep.
As been said, thank you so much, Josh, for staying up very late to be on the wrap up show tonight. We'll let you go to sleep now. Maybe you'll read yourself a bedtime story until you fall asleep,
I've got Harry Potter.
Thank you, Josh. We'll see you this weekend for a Grid Live pre-race. And next, moving on to World Rally Championship, Finland. Yesterday, we reported on Elfyn Evans leading the rally in Finland, and that's exactly where he ended up. However, Sebastian Ogier moved into fifth place to limit the points gained yesterday. Evans made it game on for the WRC championship by taking the win. Octonic came in second place, and Craig Bring rounds out the top three. Really nice to see Craig's name out there, because we don't really talk about him a lot on this program. And Ogier's fifth place finish was good enough to keep the WRC points lead, but it's only a 4-point lead with 2 rally events left in the season. And this leaves the championship down to Sebastian Ogier, one of the greatest rally racers of all time, versus Elfyn Evans. And the final 2 rounds, Rally Spain is October 14th through 17th, then Rally Monza to close the 2021 season, November 19th through 21st. And now back to the fallout from Talladega, and looking at the point situation in the round of 12 cutoff race of the Charlotte Roval this upcoming Sunday. Denny Hamlin is the only driver locked in. The point situation leaving Dega is pretty tight, as we already talked about earlier in tonight's program. Kyle Larson, the most dominant driver of the season, just one bad race at Talladega. That's only puts him 22 points above the cut line, so he's not safe at all. As I already mentioned, an early DNF without scoring a single stage point at Charlotte could really put him in danger of making what I would call a shock early playoff exit. So, Ben and Adam, in your opinion, do you think Kyle Larson should be concerned about his entire season falling apart if it all goes wrong at the Roval?
Well, there was a lot of controversy last year when Kevin Harvick had an incredible season, winning 9 races, a full quarter of the NASCAR schedule. Didn't even get the opportunity to compete for a championship at Phoenix because he had a mediocre round 3 and didn't even make the championship 4. It was one thing we were saying, if he didn't win the championship, what does that say about the system? Now you have him not even make it out of the round of 8. And I can't believe we're talking after the dominant year Kyle Larson has had, all the race wins, all the stage wins, all the playoff points he's built up. He's 22 points above the cut line, and there is a legitimate possibility with how wild the Charlotte Roval's been. You think back to Larson himself, the first ever Charlotte Roval race, passing a stalled Jeffrey Earnhardt on the front stretch to knock Jimmy Johnson out of the next round after he and Truex spun going for the win, and Ryan Blaney came out of nowhere. I think Jamie McMurray was up there as well as a playoff spoiler. If something had happened to Blaney, he would have been right there. It is another wild card race in many respects. And I know Kyle Larson's a great road course racer. I know he's had a great season, but it is by no means a lock that we're even going to see him get out of the round of 12. How crazy would that be? Yes, Kyle Larson should be concerned. He needs to go into the Charlotte Roval and make sure he's hitting on all cylinders. And quite frankly, the entire Hendrick Motorsports team does as well. And forgive me, I didn't realize just how far back, getting so caught up in, the story with Bubba Wallace and everything. Absolutely, William Byron and Alex Bowman. I think it would take an absolute miracle and a perfect storm for both of them to make it through to the round of 8. So they're definitely in virtually must-win situations themselves. So, Kyle Larson, it's crazy that we're talking about this. We would think he would be a lock to make it to Phoenix. He might not even make it out of the round of 12. Just absolutely insane to be talking about that right now.
I have to completely agree with you, Ben. If Kyle Larson doesn't make it out of the round of 12, I'd be, I think all of our jaws would be dropped after the dominating year that Kyle Larson has had. Hendrick Motorsports at the Roval is going to just have to put all the chips in the middle. And to me, I think Chase Elliott is the only Hendrick driver you could sort of say is safe right now. But I mean, I think, like you said, Ben, Alex Bowman and William Byron need to win just to advance to the round of 8. Hendrick Motorsports, after the dominant year they've had, before the playoffs, I don't know what's happened to them. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Not even all of us here at Grid Network. Hendrick, is it, like we said, has Hendrick Motorsports peaked too soon? The answer could be yes. But like you said earlier, Kobe, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are really dominant at the Charlotte Roval. So Hendrick Motorsports needs to find some horsepower in all 4 of their cars to get all of them into the next round. Weird that we're talking about this, but I play. We always say Daytona and Talladega or Bristol or wildcard races. Well, like you said, Ben, I think we'd have to include the Charlotte Roval as a wild card race as well.
And Adam, I know you talked about Chase Elliott being safe. To be honest, I'm not so sure we can say Chase Elliott is safe, although he's the king of the Charlotte Roval, in my opinion, because Chase Elliott is only 9 points above the cut line. So something going wrong, and he's eliminated right then and there, and Kevin Harvick can get in. And as for his other teammates, William Byron, Alex Bowman, they're going to have to go for the Hail Mary, get the race win. They're an absolute must-win contention. There's no way they can make up 44 and 52 point deficit right there. So I definitely think those 2 Hendrick cars are definitely a must-win. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, they need to be 1-2 in stage 1 and 2 and be 1-2 at the finish, and then they definitely should be good to go. But to answer the question, I think Kyle Larson should be a little concerned, but for the most part, if he's not involved in an accident or have some type of crazy mechanical failure, I think those Hendrick Motorsports road course cars will be good enough to get into the round of 8 for both him and Chase Elliott. But if something happens very early in the race where Kyle Larson cannot get any stage points and he finishes last or or somewhere in the 30s, I think our jaws will be dropped on Grid Live wrap up next Sunday night, 90 minutes after the race. If we're talking about Kyle Larson eliminated from the playoffs, that would be absolutely stunning considering the season that he's had. And I talked about Chase Elliott. Him and Kyle Busch, 7th and 8th on the points. Both of those drivers are 9 points above the cut line. So both Elliott and Kyle Busch, something goes wrong, they could be eliminated from the playoffs. And I'm sure there's going to be some nerves in the number 9 teams and the number 8 teams camp leading into Sunday. And Kevin Harvick right now is the first one out, 9 behind. It's possible for Harvick to get on the points if Elliott and Busch or others ahead have trouble. And Harvick really needs to score some really good stage points himself. And Christopher Bell's minus 28, William Byron minus 44, Alex Bowman minus 52. they definitely need to win at Charlotte if they want any real shot at advancing to the round of 8. Is the Charlotte Roval setting up to be an all or nothing race?
I'm going to have to say yes, because, like you talked about, Kobe T-Stud is only 9 points, above the cutoff line. Kevin Harvick's, one of the first 4 out. Alex Bowman and William Byron definitely need to win on Sunday to advance to the round of 8. Same thing for Christopher Bell. So I think on Sunday, everyone will be giving it their all. We talked about a crazy race at Talladega. We may just have to talk about a crazy race at the Charlotte Roval as well. I know it's a road course, but still, anything can happen at the Roval. We've seen crazy finishes there over the last few years, so it's going to be a real interesting race on Sunday. Hopefully the weather will be a lot nicer compared to what we saw at Talladega today, and get the whole race in. But I think, it will be all out, all or nothing race on Sunday, especially for the 4 playoff drivers that are below the cut.
Yeah, I think it's worth a reminder that last time we went to a road course in the Cup Series, Indianapolis, the infield road course there, we saw a driver who's running for Xfinity Series points, a team in only their, 7th Cup race ever?
Yeah.
It doesn't have a charter. They won the race. So you want to talk about really mixing things up. Anything can happen on any given Sunday in NASCAR, but in particular when we go to these road courses, the Charlotte Roval even stands out among the road courses when you think of some of the wild stuff we've seen there in recent years. Absolutely, it's an all or nothing race. And, if Kyle Larson, by some crazy stretch, somehow does not make it into a round of 8, I mean, you've got to compare this isn't the undefeated New England Patriots losing in the Super Bowl. This would be like them losing in the divisional round. I mean, you cannot, overstate enough just how shocking it would be if Kyle Larson doesn't even get out of a second round of the playoffs, let alone out of a third round and be a championship 4 lock like many people had him. Just like I said in the last segment, absolutely crazy that we're even having this conversation right now. But that's the system that we have in NASCAR these days, and it certainly, at the very least, is going to be entertaining to watch if you're a fan that doesn't have a rooting interest who happens to like the playoff system. But let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, in the playoffs, format is really setting up the Charlotte Roval to be an all or nothing race, or an all or nothing show, I guess you can call that, if we're talking in terms of entertainment. And I just can't put my finger on it. I thought Kyle Larson would at least make it to the round of 8, I really expect him to be in the championship 4. But Kyle Larson with an early playoff exit in the round of 12, like I said, all of our jaws will be dropped here on next Sunday night on Grid Live Wrap Up, because Kyle Larson right now really seems like that number 5 team, Hendrick Motorsports, has been the ultimate team to beat for most of the season, having won the most races, and then just one bad race at Talladega and potential bad luck at the Charlotte Roval. It could throw it all away, and that would be a real shame for that number 5 team, considering the season that he's had. And Ben, I know you talked about Kevin Harvick last year. Last year, Kevin Harvick was Kyle Larson in terms of dominance. We thought Kevin Harvick was going to go down to the championship 4. And then I know I've been consistent with this, talking about that Texas race last fall. After that Texas race, it just all fell apart for Kevin Harvick, and that 4 team has not looked the same ever since. And it was really shocking getting to Phoenix last year with Harvick not having a chance to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship. And it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to be having the same conversation about Kyle Larson after next Sunday's race at the Roval.
And now it's time for our grid one shining moment of this fabulous motorsports weekend. I'll start with you, Ben. What was your grid one shining moment?
I mean, how do you pick just one? You know, you had Mark Marquez with an outstanding victory. Bubba Wallace, obviously. Brandon Brown, Tate Fogelman, 3 first-time winners in 1 week. Jesse Love and Arca, Roger Carruth. But I think ultimately you have to give it to 23XI Racing as a whole. You know, not just Bubba Wallace, but Michael Jordan as well, coming into the sport as a brand new owner. Denny Hamlin, still active in his driving career, taking on this new role, and the team that they built in such a short time. You know, like we've said on this program several times, you know, it takes time to build an organization that's capable of winning races at the top level of NASCAR. We saw it with Colleague just a few weeks ago with AJ Allmendinger. And it's great to see these new teams, new blood coming into the sport in an era where it's so difficult to do that with the charter system and how expensive those things are getting these days. So great to see that. So great for McDonald's as well. Like we've all been mentioning, it's crazy to think that 27 years, you know, with how often they've been sponsoring cars in the sport, sometimes sponsoring multiple teams. I think people are maybe forgetting that, you know, they also sponsor Ross Chastain several races a year, and Chip Ganassi Racing, an entirely different team with an entirely different manufacturer. So they have had a lot of shots and chances to pull back into victory lane. It just has not worked out for them. That is until today. So a great weekend for everybody on 23XI Racing, everybody involved with that new team. I want to give them my one shining moment because they fully deserve it.
Oh my goodness, I cannot choose one shining moment. So I'm just gonna say the entire Talladega racing weekend was my great one shining moment. Who would have thought we would have seen not one, not two, but 3 first-time winners in the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series? I would have never predicted that at all. In 3 great feel-good stories, starting with the Truck Series with Tate Fogelman, and that was a really big victory for Young's Motorsports, and that was their second Talladega victory in 3 years. In 2019, Spencer Boyd won that race in the number 20 truck, and now Tate Fogelman in the number 12. That was a really chaotic finish at the truck race with Tate Fogelman and John Hunter Nemechek making contact coming to the start finish line, and then Timmy Hill's truck, Tyler, with his brother Tyler Hill driving it. Him and Tate Fogelman are sliding across the finish line. It was kind of like that Bristol finish with AJ Allmendinger and Austin Cindric, and then at the end, Tate Fogelman and Austin Hill, both of their trucks are spun out, and then Tate Fogelman's truck hit the inside wall, so he actually had to go to the infield care center, just like AJ Allmendinger had to do at Bristol, before we could get his victory lane interview, which we got to see online. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it on TV because Fox ran out of the TV window there. And then the Xfinity race, Brandon Brown, Brandon-Built Motorsports. What a wonderful feel-good story for that. No, Brandon Brown's had a hard time in the last year with his dad battling cancer and all of that, and not knowing if Brandon-Built Motorsports is going to be able to complete the entire 2021 season. And then he made that inspirational car salesman skit where he tried to sell himself to potential sponsors. And after Brandon put out that video, I believe it was last month, Brandon-Built Motorsports announced they sold all of their primary sponsorships for the rest of the season. So it really shows Brandon Brown's been doing something right. His team doesn't have the budget to compete with a lot of the superior Xfinity Series programs. So Brandon Brown is doing a lot with limited resources, and that win at Talladega, that was really special for that entire Brandon-Built Motorsports organization. Last but not least, Bubba Wallace, 23XI Racing. We've pretty much said all that needs to be said about that. It was a historic day for the sport. It'll definitely be an entire racing weekend that we'll never forget. I'm sure Bubba Wallace, everyone involved with 23XI Racing, is never gonna forget that as well. It was just overall a wonderful weekend of racing. And since this was the last Super Speedway race with the Gen 6 car, I truly believe that number 23 Toyota Camry from 23XI Racing is definitely going to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in the future.
You know, like my colleagues have said, it's really hard to choose. But I'm going to just have to say, for me, my grade one shining moment has to go to Bubba Wallace. After everything that's happened to him in Talladega last year, the news we saw in the garage, and then having all of NASCAR, all the drivers standing with him at pit road last year, it was truly a remarkable moment. Everybody talked about it in the sports world. It was mentioned on so many sports shows. It got eyes watching NASCAR, and to see this happen today, the sports world, this will be talked about on shows like ESPN Sports Center and sports shows for years to come. This will be the top story. The newspapers across the world, it'll be on every single front page of every newspaper sports page. This will go down as one of the greatest NASCAR moments in history, sports history. There's probably going to be a lot of sports celebrities and other celebrities congratulating Bubba Wallace on his victory. I'm lost for words. I've been, like the viewers know and my colleagues at Grid Network know, I've been watching NASCAR racing for a long time. To me, after everything that Bubba Wallace has had to endure at Talladega, it came full circle. It came 360 degrees, and this was a feel-good story. The entire team, Robert Booty Barker, his first career win, McDonald's who haven't won since Jimmy Spencer in 1996 at the Die Hard 500 at Talladega. So overall, for me, my Grid 1 shining moment has to go to Bubba Wallace and in his win today. I want to say congratulations. And from all of us here at Grid Network, we want to say congratulations to Bubba Wallace and the entire 2311 Racing team for the victory at Talladega Superspeedway today.
Yeah, Adam, thank you so much. I knew I was forgetting somebody, Booty Barker as well. He came on as Bubba's new crew chief just a few weeks ago, and to have this level of success so quickly, his first win as a Cup crew chief. He's been a journeyman for a long time, worked with a lot of great drivers, helped develop them and create a lot of great careers in the sport. Now he's doing the same with Bubba Wallace in 2311 Racing, so congratulations to him as well on a great weekend for the entire number 23 Toyota team. And as we close the show tonight, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Grid Network here on YouTube. Follow us on all of our social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We also encourage you to visit our Patreon page. Join Colin, Mark, Deshelle, and Robin investing in our team. Also, be sure to check out Poblis for dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. And remember, 10% of each of your purchases goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescue dogs. Also visit public.com, the stock market social media home. The link below and referral code gives you $5 to use to invest immediately. Public.com allows you to connect with your friends, make new friends, and use tools to learn how to invest in the stock market. On Wednesday, Kobe and Adam are back for another edition of Grid Tonight, discussing the latest news in auto racing. Thursday, a new episode of the Women Racing to Win. Saturday, we're back on the air for Grid Live pre-race. Then Sunday, Grid Live wrap-up 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at the Charlotte Roval. For Adam Lemerise, Josh Birch, and Kobe Lambeth, I'm Ben Schneider. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful week.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDNET for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.